My name is Aretha. And the night they sold me, the moon refused to shine. They didn't sell me for gold. Not for land. Not even for money. They sold me for food. A plate of food. That was the price my stepmother placed on my life. And my father agreed. He didn't ask questions. He didn't hesitate. He didn't choose me. He never did. I was 16. But I felt 100 years old. Pain ages you faster than time ever could. I still remember my mother. Her soft voice. Her warm hands. Her gentle songs at night. She used to call me her sunrise. When she died, the sun left my home. My father remarried. And the woman he brought home. She wasn't a stepmother. She was a storm. Her smile was cold. Her words were knives. Her children laughed at my tears. To them, I was not family. I was labor. At 8 years old, my school uniform turned into a rag. I stopped going to school because she said girls didn't need education. A girl belongs in a kitchen, she told me. And one day, she will belong to a man. And my father. Whatever she said became law. From that moment, I became a shadow. I cooked but never ate. I fetched water until my neck felt like fire. I cut wood until my hands split open. I worked until my bones shook. And when I collapsed, they still told me to stand. Hunger became my closest friend. Pain became my teacher. Silence became my cage. But even cages have doors. Mine opened the day they decided to get rid of me. One afternoon, I heard whispers in the kitchen. She is useless here, my stepmother said. Let that wanderer take her. At least we will save food. My father grunted. She is still young. She laughed. She is 16, old enough to marry. My heart pounded so loudly I thought the walls would hear. The wanderer they spoke of was a man named Eli. A quiet stranger living at the edge of the village. People said he was poor. People said he owned nothing. People said he carried only secrets. The next morning, they woke me early. Wash, my stepmother ordered. You will meet your husband. Her children giggled. They looked at me like I was a joke. Eli arrived with quiet steps. Clothes faded. Shoes dusty. A small bag in his hand. He didn't smile. He didn't speak much. He just nodded at my father. I'll take her. Just like that. No ceremony. No blessing. No goodbye. My father handed him a worn-out bag with my clothes. Then he turned away. I walked behind Eli, barefoot, heart trembling. I didn't cry. I had cried too much in that house already. The walk to his place was long. The sun burned my back. The dust clung to my feet. Every step felt like leaving a piece of myself behind. His home was small. A mud hut with a crooked door. A kitchen made of sticks. Inside, there was only one mat. A few pots. Silence. This is your corner, he said. His voice was calm. Not cruel. Just unreadable. He left for hours. I thought he had abandoned me. But he returned with rice, vegetables, and meat. Cook, he said. I cooked. He sat with me. And when I tried to serve myself last, like I used to, he stopped me. No, we eat together, he said. Equally. Equally. A word I had never lived before. The days passed. He spoke little. Worked hard. Returned with food every night. Sometimes he disappeared at dawn and came back late. Always bringing something. One day, I asked him quietly, "How do you afford all this?" He looked at me for a few seconds. "Does it matter?" he asked. It did. But I didn't say another word. I had learned that questions can be dangerous. But Eli was not like my father. He didn't shout. He didn't hit. He didn't command. He watched. He listened. And in his silence, there was a strange comfort. Yet, something about him didn't fit the life he lived. Little things began to bother my mind. His clothes looked worn. But sometimes he wore shoes that were too expensive for a wanderer. His watch looked simple. But the metal shined like wealth. And late at night, when he thought I was sleeping, I saw him counting money. Not naira. Dollars. He kept them in a wooden box under the mat. I pretended not to see. Because pretending was something I was good at. One evening, he handed me a small parcel wrapped in brown paper. For you. Inside was a new dress. Soft. Blue. Beautiful. Why? I asked. You deserve something new, he said. I had not heard words like that since my mother died. I wore the dress that night. And for a brief moment, I felt like a person again. But inside me, a question grew. Who exactly is the man I married? A wanderer? A poor man? Or someone hiding from the world? Before the sun rose, Eli woke me gently. Dress up, he said. We're going to the city. The city. A place I had never imagined stepping into. I wore the blue dress he had given me. My hands trembled as I tied the scarf around my hair. I didn't know why we were going. I didn't know what waited for me there. But I followed him. We walked to the main road. A rusty bus stopped for us. People stared at me. A village girl in a new blue dress. The road to the city felt like a journey between worlds. As we entered the city, everything changed. Tall buildings. Fast cars. Bright colors. Noise everywhere. Life moving faster than breath. But something strange happened. People greeted Eli with respect. Not pity. Not confusion. Respect. A trader bowed his head. A bus conductor called him, sir. Even a guard in uniform stepped aside when we approached a tall glass building. Good morning, sir, the guard said. Sir? My heart tightened. Eli walked inside confidently. He didn't look lost. He didn't look poor. It felt like he belonged. He led me to the top floor. When the elevator doors opened, a man in a suit rushed toward him. Sir, the documents are ready for your signature. Sir again. Signature. Documents. I stood frozen. Eli signed with calm hands. Then he turned and walked out, as if this meant nothing. But to me, it meant everything. Who was he? Why did people bow to him? Why did he live in a hut when he clearly didn't belong there? After leaving the tall building, Eli took me to a restaurant. It wasn't a place I recognized. Soft chairs. Silver spoons. White plates that shined like they came from the sky. The waiter bowed. Welcome, sir. Sir again. My heart beat fast. My hands shook as I held the menu. I didn't know what any of the words meant. Eli noticed. Choose anything, he said quietly. I don't know what these are, I whispered. He smiled faintly. We'll order something simple. But there was nothing simple about that place. Even his phone calls weren't simple. Voices speaking in English. Another language I didn't recognize. People asking for decisions. People waiting for orders. He ended one call and looked at me. Life is bigger than what you see, Aretha, he said. Bigger than I see. Bigger than he shows. That sentence stayed with me. On our way back, he bought me new shoes. You can't walk barefoot forever, he told me. Something warm moved inside my chest. I had never owned new shoes. Not once. But that warmth was mixed with something else. Fear. Because every new thing he did for me felt like a reminder that he wasn't the man I thought he was. That night, the wind blew hard. Cold. Dry. Sharp. I was sorting vegetables when I heard shouting outside. Fire. An entire hut was burning. Flames climbing into the sky. People screaming. Children crying. It was Mama Ruth's house. The widow who once gave me roasted yam when my stepmother denied me food. My heart shook. Before I could think, Eli ran toward the fire. He didn't panic. He didn't hesitate. He took control. Form a waterline, he ordered. Move faster. His voice carried authority, strong, commanding, undeniable. But the river was far. The fire was spreading too fast. I thought we were going to lose everything. Then something unbelievable happened. Eli pulled out his phone. He spoke quickly in a sharp, fast language. Minutes later, a black pickup truck rushed into the village. Two men in uniforms jumped out with huge fire extinguishers. They moved like they had practiced this 100 times. People stared. No one in our village had seen machines like that. They put out the fire before it reached the next hut. When it was over, the uniformed men bowed to Eli slightly, then left. My breath stopped. They bowed to him. Not to the chief. Not to an elder. To him. I felt the truth knocking on my mind. Eli was not who he pretended to be. Back in the hut, I couldn't hide my questions anymore. Eli, I whispered, who are you? He didn't answer. He just stared at the floor, his jaw tight. The next morning, everything became clearer. I was walking back from the stream when a black SUV entered the village. A man in a suit stepped out. You must be Aretha, he said politely. My heart froze. Yes. Where is Eli? He should be home. Good, come with me. Eli was outside fixing a stool when we arrived. The moment he saw the SUV, his face changed. Not fear. Not surprise. Annoyance. The man stepped toward him. You haven't answered your calls. I told you not to come here. Eli replied coldly. The air tightened. The company needs you in the city. The investors are waiting. The board is restless. Board. Investors. Company. None of those words belonged to a poor man. The man continued. You are the CEO of Dalton Holdings. You cannot disappear like this. The world stopped. CEO. Dalton Holdings. My mind went blank. The man, the wanderer, the stranger they sold me to, was a billionaire. I covered my mouth with my hand. I wasn't supposed to hear that. And he knew it. When the SUV drove away, silence fell over the hut. A heavy, suffocating silence. I turned to Eli slowly. CEO, Dalton Holdings? The words felt strange in my mouth. He didn't answer. Tell me the truth, I whispered. He sat down on the edge of the stool he had been fixing. His hands rested on his knees. His eyes stared at the ground. Finally, he said quietly, Yes, Aretha. I am. My chest tightened. He continued, his voice low. I didn't want you to know yet. I didn't want money to define this marriage. I didn't want power to change the way you look at me. I stepped back. So you lied. He lifted his head. Not lied. Just didn't tell you. That is a lie, Eli. He closed his eyes like the truth hurt. I needed a place where no one knew my name, he said. A place where no one bowed. Where no one expected anything from me. He looked at me, and his voice softened. And then I saw you. Saw me? I whispered. I saw you long before the marriage, he said. You were carrying water from the river. Your stepmother sat while you worked. You didn't complain. You didn't shout. You just kept going. He breathed out slowly. Strength like that is rare. My heart ached. I didn't know whether to feel honored or betrayed. So the marriage was what? A test? No, he said firmly. A chance for me to be human again. His eyes moved to my hands. You think I saved you, Aretha, but you saved me too. You saved the parts of me that money destroyed. I didn't know what to say. His truth felt heavy. But it also felt real. By the next morning, rumors had spread like fire on dry grass. People whispered when I walked past. They stared at me like I was some creature from a story. At the market, women stopped talking when I approached. Then they started again once I walked away. I heard words like, rich man's wife. Acting proud now. She hid her wealth from us. She thinks she's better. But they were wrong. I didn't hide anything. I didn't know anything. When I carried vegetables home, 3 older women blocked my path. One said, if your husband is rich, give us money. Another added, buy us clothes, buy us shoes, we deserve it. I don't have money, I said quietly. They scoffed. You think we believe that? Then one of them spat on the ground beside me. Remember this, Aretha. This village will break you. I walked away without looking back. But their words followed me home. My stepmother returns. When I reached the hut, I froze. My stepmother stood at the edge of the compound, with 2 strange men beside her. Her smile was wide, fake, sharp. My daughter, She said loudly. Where is your husband? I folded my arms. Why do you want to see him? She clicked her tongue. If he is rich, then it is only right he takes care of us. After all, we gave you to him. My jaw clenched. You sold me. She rolled her eyes. Don't talk like a child. You are lucky he chose you. Now let him repay our kindness. Kindness? Before I could answer, Eli stepped out of the hut. The men beside her straightened. Even she shifted nervously. My son-in-law, she said sweetly. We came for a small. Eli cut her off with a calm, cold voice. You were never a mother to her. Her smile vanished. You will leave now, he said. And you will not come back with strangers. One of the men tried to speak, but Eli's eyes hardened. They left quickly. But fear settled in my heart. People didn't just want rumors. They wanted pieces of us. Pieces they believed they deserved. One night, everything changed. I was half asleep when I heard it. 3 sharp knocks. Eli sat up immediately. No one knocked like that in the village. Not at night. Not with purpose. He moved to the door slowly. Opened it just enough to look outside. 3 men stood there. Not villagers. City men. Shoes polished. Faces stern. Eyes sharp. One of them stepped forward. Mr. Dalton. We need to talk. My blood turned cold. They called him by his real name. He stepped outside and closed the door behind him. But the night was quiet. I could hear every word. You have been gone too long, one man said. The board is furious. Investors are threatening to withdraw. Another added, your absence has already cost millions. Millions. My heart dropped. Eli spoke calmly. I told you, I am not ready to return. The leader shook his head. You can't hide in this village forever. People are asking questions. Reporters are digging. Someone will find her. Her. Me. My breath caught. If they expose your marriage, the man continued, she becomes a target. Eli's voice hardened. No one touches my wife. And no one decides my life for me. His tone made even the night go still. Leave, he said. Before I make you. They left. But their warning stayed. When Eli walked back in, I was sitting on the mat, my hands shaking. He knelt in front of me. Aretha, he whispered. No one will harm you. Not while I breathe. I wanted to believe him. But fear had already entered my heart. At dawn, Eli woke me with a single sentence. Pack your things. We're leaving. A black SUV was already waiting outside. The same men as before. But now they were silent. Respectful. They opened the door for me. This time, I didn't hesitate. I stepped in. The village road disappeared behind us. Fields passed by. Rivers. Trees. Everything I had known for 16 years. Gone. For the first time in my life, I wasn't walking barefoot. I wasn't carrying water. I wasn't being sold. But I also wasn't ready for what was coming. Hours later, the SUV entered a part of the city I had never seen. Tall lights. Wide roads. Expensive cars. Then we turned into a long driveway lined with flowers. At the end stood a mansion of glass and stone. The gates opened automatically. Guards bowed. Welcome back, Mr. Dalton, they said. Then one turned to me. Welcome home, Mrs. Dalton. Home? I stepped out slowly. My feet touched marble floors. Lights shimmered overhead. The cold air smelled like flowers and new beginnings. But my heart wasn't sure if this was a beginning. Or the start of a new storm. Eli walked ahead. This, he said, is the life I left behind. I swallowed hard. Why did you bring me here? He looked into my eyes. Because hiding is no longer safe. And because this world is yours now too. Inside the mansion, everything glowed. The marble floors. The golden lights. The tall windows that stretched from floor to ceiling. Nothing looked real. I walked slowly, afraid that if I touched anything, it would break. A woman in a neat suit approached with a warm smile. Mr. Dalton, she greeted. Your office has been prepared. And the board meeting is scheduled for noon. Then she looked at me. And welcome, Mrs. Dalton. We've been expecting you. Expecting me? I felt the ground shift. Eli placed a hand gently on my back. It's all right, he whispered. You belong here. But I didn't feel like I belonged. I felt small. Invisible. Out of place in every corner. He led me through a wide hallway into an office so large I stopped breathing. The walls were glass. The desk was carved from dark wood. Books lined an entire wall. Awards and trophies filled the shelves. Every trophy had his name. Daniel Eli Dalton. Global Entrepreneur of the Year. Excellence in Leadership. Top Innovator. My heart raced. You're powerful, I whispered. He looked at me softly. Power means nothing if I can't protect the people I love. Then he took a breath. Aretha, all of this, will be yours someday. My knees nearly weakened. Mine? Yes, he said. And that's why I need you to learn this world. Slowly, safely, with me. I looked outside the window. The city stretching like a sea of lights. I didn't know if I could ever become the woman he believed I could be. But something deep inside whispered. Maybe you can. Later that day, he brought me to the top floor. A private elevator opened into a penthouse unlike anything I had ever imagined. Soft carpets. Shimmering lights. A kitchen filled with silver and steel. Balconies overlooking the entire city. This, he said, is home. He walked me into a room full of clothes and shoes. All new. All beautiful. Whose room is this? I whispered. He looked at me with a small smile. Yours. I touched one of the dresses. Afraid it would disappear. Afraid this moment would fade like a dream. You planned this? I asked. I hoped for it, he replied gently. My throat tightened. No one had ever prepared anything for me in my entire life. Not a gift. Not a dress. Not even a safe place to sleep. But he built a world for me before I ever stepped into it. That night, we stood on the balcony. The city glowed beneath us, gold, white, silver. The wind was cool. His arms wrapped around me from behind. This is my favorite view, he murmured. But it's better now. Why? I asked. He kissed the side of my head. Because you're in it. I closed my eyes and let myself breathe. For the first time since childhood. I felt safe. The next morning, he cooked breakfast. Real breakfast. Warm bread. Sweet fruit. Soft eggs. Hot tea. For me. I watched him move around the kitchen with ease. The man who was feared in boardrooms. Now cutting fruit with gentle hands. After breakfast he said, "Get dressed, I'm taking you somewhere." We drove across the city. Tall buildings rose around us like giants. When we stopped, he guided me into a large open space. Bright lights. White walls. Fabric everywhere. Sewing machines. Mannequins. Design tables. It looked like magic. This, he said, is yours. I blinked. Mine? Yes, he said proudly. You always stitched your own clothes. You survived with scraps. Now you'll create with dignity. Create with freedom. Create with your own name. I looked around. My heart beat loud in my ears. Then he said the words that broke me open completely. We will launch your brand. Your own label. Named after you. My lips trembled. Aretha? I whispered. Just Aretha, he said. Strong, simple, beautiful. Tears filled my eyes. This man. He wasn't giving me luxury. He was giving me identity. Not just wealth. But a future. That night, we sat on the balcony again. The air was warm. The sky soft. We talked about childhoods. Pain. Dreams. The future. But then his phone buzzed. His entire expression changed. He answered quickly. His voice sharp. How did they get that information? He demanded. I leaned closer, but I couldn't hear the voice on the other end. When he hung up, his jaw was tight. Reporters are looking for people from the village, he said slowly. They're digging too deep. A chill ran up my spine. What does that mean? It means, he whispered, we must protect what is ours. Later that night, I passed the window and froze. A man stood in the street below. Still. Silent. Watching the building. Watching us. Security began moving toward him, but he slipped into the crowd. A shadow disappearing. I didn't tell Eli right away. I didn't want to add to his worries. But the fear stayed with me until morning. The next day, the world changed again. We released the first designs of my brand. Orders came in faster than anyone expected. People loved the bold colors. The simple lines. The strength in the fabric. They didn't just see clothes. They saw a story. A story of a poor village girl who never stopped surviving. Soon, designers called. Brands reached out. Magazines asked for interviews. But the one thing that meant the most, people began to say, "She is not Mr. Dalton's wife. She is Aretha, the designer." For the first time in my life, my name meant something. I taught girls from poor areas how to sew. We gave them machines. We gave them hope. He supported me silently. Proud. Loyal. Strong. He didn't stand in front of me. He stood beside me. And sometimes, behind me, letting me shine. Months later, we returned. Not in fear. Not in hiding. Openly. Together. I wore one of my own designs. My head high. My steps steady. Children stopped playing. Women paused. Men stared. My stepmother's mouth fell open. My father's eyes filled with regret. But I wasn't there for revenge. I was there to show the girl I used to be. You survived. You made it. You did not break. Eli squeezed my hand gently. Proud? He asked. I smiled. Yes. But not of the clothes. Not of the brand. He tilted his head. Then of what? Of the woman I became. I whispered. That night, back in the penthouse, we stood on the balcony once more. The city shimmered. The wind brushed against us. His arms wrapped around me softly. This, he said, is just the beginning. I placed my head against his chest. For the first time in my life, I believed it. Because I had learned something powerful. Love isn't about being saved. Power isn't about money. A home isn't about walls. And a name isn't about letters. It's about standing with someone who sees every part of you and still chooses you every single day. And that was our story. Not of wealth, not of secrets, but of two broken souls who found their way to each other.